During May, we are celebrating International Building Safety Month, sponsored by the International Code Council.
Having good, solid building codes allows us to make sure that we have stability and sustainability in our structures. We want them to last a long time. And secondly, the reason we support building codes is for the occupants of those houses. It ensures the health, safety, and welfare of the people that are living in homes.
The City of Lawrence has adopted a number of building codes that ensure safe construction of buildings and remodeling of buildings and repairs to buildings. We're showing things that we look at from the ground, the hole in the ground, all the way to the final building permit inspection. What we'll see today will also be applied to remodeling permits, substantial remodeling. Sometimes there's things that have to be upgraded during that process or additions to buildings, and it would also cover not just residential properties, but any kind of construction in the city.
What we're looking at here is there's a slab for a garage, and you can see the rebar intersections that they're on 1 foot centers. The black things down on the underneath the steel are chairs that hold the steel up into the concrete. There's also piers out in the middle that support the slab down to the virgin ground. The rebar is drilled every 2 inches into the concrete wall to support it also on the edges. Here's a good illustration of the anchor bolts that are placed in the concrete when the concrete is poured. The pipe that is sticking up there with the gray tape on it is the radon rough end, and that'll be connected at a later time when the house has been fully framed. And the other pipes are, of course, plumbing and drainage pipes for the plumbing system. Typically, any kind of wet locations, like where a sink is located, for example, in a bar area or a bathroom area or a kitchen area, the requirement is to have a GFCI protector receptacle. It just happens to be some water on there and you get a shock, the plug reads that and it will shut off and it won't shock you. And you just put it in there, and when you test it, it pops, and then that kills the power to the plug. Here we have the main electrical panel. These breakers here with the white buttons, they're called AFCI. They basically protect bedrooms from any kind of arc fault. It's just for the wiring. If there's some kind of problem with the wiring, it'll sense that and it'll shut that circuit completely off. And here is all the labels of the locations of all the circuits. This is what they call a combination smoke alarm and carbon monoxide alarm. The requirement is to have a carbon monoxide alarm on each level outside every bedroom area. This pipe here, this is an outside air intake. The houses can become kind of a stale air environment. Air coming into the building through the windows, through the foundation, cracks, different things like that. Now the houses are so tight that they need to have an actual active outdoor air intake to help with fresh air into the building. The furnace has plastic pipes, which is a high efficiency furnace. The gas line comes into it, and all the duct joints would have to be sealed with a tape. Out here we're looking at the underside of the deck that's been built for this house. The wall of the house, it's been bolted every 16 inches, and then each of the support members has a metal bracket that holds up the deck. Here's the water heater. This one has been located out in the garage. Some of the safety items on there is here's the water connections on the top here. Here's the flue where the gases go out to the outside of the building. This here is what they call a temperature pressure relief valve. This will not allow the water heater to gain too much pressure and cause a large explosion, basically.
We work closely with the building officials because they have the same desire that we do to make sure that we have good housing stock in our community and that we're a safe place to live.
We're glad that we have the codes, and we work closely with our partners in the building industry to make sure that you're safe when you go into a building or purchase a new home.
City of Lawrence, Douglas County Household Hazardous Waste Facility accepts hazardous waste generated by Douglas County households and qualifying businesses year-round by appointment only. Responsible disposal of hazardous waste decreases the risk to homeowners, sanitation workers, and the environment.
I brought a collection of fryer oil that I built up over the last couple of years, about a dozen or so long fluorescent light tubes, and then about 25 of those CFL bulbs. And the reason I was really glad to be able to recycle them is because they have mercury in them, and apparently it's a real problem. And I have a feeling that most people don't know that these are hazardous items and that they need to be disposed of properly.
Accepted materials include paint, pesticides, cleaning products, mercury-containing devices, fluorescent lamps, batteries. Products that are still in usable condition are put out on our reuse shelves and available to Douglas County residents at no charge.
I work at Heritage Baptist Church and the Heritage Baptist School, where we have multiple buildings and we have a fairly large ministry. We come here multiple times a year and get paint so that we can rehab our buildings, and it is such a blessing because it allows us to be able to use money where we would have spent on paint elsewhere to reach the community.
Everybody is nice. You call them up, somebody always answers the phone, you make an appointment, and they're there when you come and they take your stuff, and people there are very courteous, polite. And this is one thing that I'm really grateful that the city does, because without it, the pollution would be a whole lot worse.
Citizens and businesses can call 785-832-3030 to schedule an appointment time.